Hello, this is Ian, and this is Ian's POV. I think I need a haircut. I was going to booked in for a haircut last Thursday. I went down with the flu Wednesday night. Well, it was a stomach bug. I had stomach cramps so bad I was almost passing out. So we rung the girl that comes round and does my hair and said, sorry, got to cancel. Got a bug, don't want to give it to you. It's bad. I wasn't all right until yesterday afternoon. 5 days, 6 days, 6 days. Oh, I was bad. Couldn't eat. I thought, just take water. Make sure you're hydrated. Couple of sips of mouthful of water. Feeling sick again. Half a piece of toast. Feeling sick again. Oh, I was grim. I was really grim. Anyway, let's get back to business. Update on my last video about Tommy's Unite the Kingdom rally. I made a few mistakes. I admit mistakes. But I was working on the information that I was given. So I'm going to correct my mistakes. I always said I would do this, and I would admit my mistakes. Now, what has happened is a number of journalists and reporters were barred by the government that they were not conducive to the public interest. An Australian reporter for Rebel News was banned, and he was not planning to come to London. Okay? That I said I was right on that one. Then we got Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck said that he thought he was going to be banned. But there was nothing said that he was going to be at the rally. Lo and behold, Saturday he stood up on stage and did his bit. Afterwards, he reported that the government had given him a warning that if he says anything wrong on stage, that he will be banned in the future. How can that be right? How can you ban an international journalist like Glenn Beck? He worked for Fox News for years. He's now got The Blaze, that he works his own company. Absolutely craziness. Then we come to Ezra. Ezra of Rebel News, who is a friend of Tommy's. He's reported on Tommy and the jail court cases and the met him when he came out of jail. He's frequently over here. Tommy was working for him for a while for Rebel News. Now, Ezra said that he had been banned from coming to England. What he didn't say on the Friday was that he had planned to come to the Unite the Kingdom rally. He explained on his own show that he could get a visa in a couple of weeks. If he paid £100, he could get a visa in 4 or 5 days. If he paid £1,000, he could get a visa in a day. He paid the £1,000 to get the visa in a day. It didn't turn up after 4 or 5 days. And he got an email saying that he'd been banned from the event for reporting on it. So he did get banned, but he had planned to come over. Previously, we were told that he hadn't planned to come over. I think there's a little bit of porkies going on here, but not in a bad way. They've done it to save themselves. But now the truth can come out because the event's happened. Now, the event was on Dan Wootton Outspoken on YouTube live throughout the day. I hopped in and out as I was trying to do other things. I felt rotten, but I watched as much of it as I could. Lorraine from Insiders done a brilliant job in the studio, and she had a couple of guests there. And I think his name's Leo, the comedian. He was interviewing people around the stage and the public. He done a brilliant job. Dan Wootton was on a cruise. Obviously, he'd booked the cruise and the holiday before this had been organised. But the two of them on Dan Wootton's show, as Outspoken, done a brilliant job on the day. It kept going. They showed videos. They showed the people. And it was brilliant. I mean, it really was. It was high quality journalism at its best in Britain. Now, Mike Graham on the Monday morning interviewed people who were on stage at the United Kingdom rally, explaining why they were there, what their message was. He is basically supporting Tommy by doing this. He interviewed the guy from Raise the Flag, Raise the Colours. Can't remember his name. I should have written it down before I started. The guy who organises Raise the Colours was arrested by the police. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows, it was obviously prearranged that they would oink him out. They're now saying it was the wrong person, misidentified, like Sugar. They said, and they told us, they had facial recognition monitoring throughout the rally. So they must have known who he was. And they removed him from the scene. Why? Because they don't want him reporting on it. He was going to report live on YouTube or X or whatever he uses. He still doesn't know why he was arrested. He was in a police cell for 11 hours. The police were way out of order. A guy just being at a rally. But because he is, they took him out. There was a chief inspector in the gang of coppers that took him out. Somebody ought to look at the footage of that. There was a number of police officers. There was a sergeant and a chief inspector. Somebody should take their numbers, take their names, and sue them for wrongful arrest. This is not the way the police should act. The police basically got a rotten job. They can be walking around, they can be driving around in the car and nothing happens. Then all of a sudden, there's a car accident or a murder or a fist fight, pub brawl, and they got to go in and sort it out. They have an awful job. And I commend them for what they do. But when they start doing this, and they start basically harassing law-abiding citizens because they have a different view to British life than they do, they become the Nazis. I call them the Nazi party, next party stormtroopers. Because that's how they're acting. They let the left rally, the anti-far right, pro-Palestine, Gaza protest, with all their chants of murdering and killing, and they let that go free. Ordinary British people standing up waving the flag. There was Welsh flags. There was American flags. There was Jewish flags. There was the Iranian flag with the lion on it. All coming together, uniting the nation. And all Lammy can do is call them far-right thugs. They're just ordinary people like thee and I. I've become a Tommy supporter. Because of that, I can't join Reform. Although, at the moment, in my constituency, I would vote Reform. You know, I had a 4-month police investigation on me for a one single line comment on a Facebook post. But I was never cautioned. And if you're not cautioned, you can't be arrested. And I've had 4 police investigations on me. And I have not been cautioned once. So that comes down to police harassment. Pure and simple. And these guys at the rally, they said they made 43 arrests. Well, is it part of this police harassment to take people out of the rally that they don't like, that they don't agree with? Met Nazi Party again. This can't continue. This can't go on. This has got to stop. And I'm hoping that when Reform get into number 10, that Farage and Anderson can stop all this shenanigans. Anyway, this is Ian. Ian's POV. Bye bye for now.